Hello everyone, how are we all doing today and welcome back. I've been sinking myself into the fun game of Deflector, which by the way is still in pre-release, so some things might be changed later down the line, depending on the developers and feedback from it. Since I've unlocked all 4 currently playable characters, and I've done quite a few runs of them, why not rank them? And that is exactly what this video is about, so let me explain how I decided to rank them. Now keep in mind that all 4 of them are good in their own way, but it's just my personal opinion. I decided to look at how I felt playing them and how good I felt they were during the early game, where you basically have no DNA upgrades and are just stuck with your basic ability, and how they perform in the end game, where you are absolutely overpowered with the right upgrades. Don't get me wrong, any character can be good if you have the right upgrades. Also, we'll only be looking at their alpha forms, otherwise I'd be ranking 4 different characters with 3 different playstyles, which is just too much for me to have to do. It takes a lot of footage. Just one run is already like an hour long, so it takes quite a bit. So without much further nonsense, let's get into it. By the way, if you enjoy this kind of content and want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button down below and let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my list. Now in the number 4 spot, we find our sword-wielding friend Slasher. I'll be completely honest with you, I suck with Slasher, and I just cannot seem to find a good way to play with him. While the highest base health is nice and the damage per hit is alright, I just feel like I hit so incredibly slow. The close quarter nature of Slasher just isn't it for me, just constantly getting hit every single second. The high base health for that is really nice, and if it wasn't for the sword throwing mechanic, I probably wouldn't be using Slasher that much. In the number 4 spot, we find Spark. Now the way Spark works is quite different from the rest of them, but once you get used to it, I find it to be better than Slasher. You start out with just one orb that orbits around you, that you have to use your Deflect to whoosh it into an enemy and hit him with it. Then when you recall that orb, which is like your left click, you get 2 back, because if you hit him, you get another one. So you can get up to 6 orbs. It does leave you vulnerable to attacks from the side and the back, but most of the time I didn't find myself worrying about that. That's about it for number 3. On to the next spot. And then here we find in the number 2 spot our long-range gun-wielding gunslinger. The only thing that kept me away from putting the gunslinger in the number 1 spot is that damn energy bar, and what feels like pretty mad damage, but that damage that feels really low is made up of a high fire rate, which makes it better than Spark until your energy runs out. Being able to play from a distance, creating that distance between the attacks is amazing, and highly recommend unlocking them as soon as possible, which you need the battery for, so that's like the only reason you want to unlock Slasher. Then we move on to the number 1 spot, and in the top spot of this list we find Eradicator. It's the first character to start out with, and it's by far my favorite and the most reliable character for me to play. The boomerang does solid damage with, I believe, a base damage of 100 per hit, and being able to deflect that boomerang so it gets more range is fucking amazing. And the enemies also turning yellow on the map is really useful, because even I tend to forget or not realize where some of the enemies are, and end up taking unnecessary damage. You get to ult decently fast as you're constantly deflecting your boomerang, and just kind of builds up that meter really nicely. There's just no reason why I wouldn't be spamming the ult. Most reliable, easy to use, and we hit the late game with the right DNA upgrades. My god, do you feel killable. And that's why I feel that it deserves my number 1 spot. Anyway, that is my ranking. Now you may or may not agree with me, so let me know down in the comments below how you would rank them, and if you want to see more of Deflector. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peeps. See ya! Oh yeah, there's a place called Utrecht. Wait.
Utrecht.
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 That sounds so funny.
Wait, say it again?
Utrecht.
Say it slow.
Utrecht.
Utrecht.